Welcome to Old Coins World Park, is all they are not ordinary coins. They are silent witnesses of history, forged in times when a nation was finding its destiny. Each curve, each shine, and each mark carries the heartbeat of America's glory. These coins have felt the touch of generations, passed through the hands of dreamers, leaders, and believers. They are more than metal, they are memory. They are the voice of freedom that refuses to fade. Their glow may soften with time, but their legacy still burns brighter than ever. Every collector who holds them feels the weight of pride, the story of courage, and the echo of greatness. These are the coins that define power. These are the symbols that remind the world what endurance truly means. And today, you are about to witness their hidden worth, the kind of value that time can never erase. In a world where history is written not only in books, but also engraved in metal, one coin continues to fascinate collectors and historians alike: the 1973 United States $50. A piece that carries the story of an era, a time when America was redefining its identity, and every coin minted represented a piece of that legacy. Today, we're diving deep into the value, history, and mystery behind the 1973 $50 without a mint mark. Could this seemingly ordinary coin be worth more than you ever imagined? Stay tuned, because what you're about to discover might change the way you look at your spare change forever. The 1973 United States $50 is one of those coins that seems simple at first glance, yet holds an entire world of detail, design, and value once you begin to explore it closely. Designed by Gilroy Roberts for the obverse and Frank Gasparro for the reverse, this coin was minted in honor of President John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated in 1963. The Kennedy $50 series started in 1964, and by 1973, it had already become one of America's most iconic circulating coins. Let's start with the physical details. The coin weighs about 11.34 grams, has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel over a pure copper core. On the obverse, you'll see the beautiful portrait of John F. Kennedy facing left, with the word Liberty arching across the top, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," below. The year 1973 appears just beneath the neckline. Now, here's where things get interesting. The 1973 $50, without the D-Mint mark, means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which at that time did not use any mint mark. The coins with a D-Mint mark were produced in Denver, and the ones with an S-Mint mark were struck in San Francisco as proofs. So, if you find a 1973 $50 without any mint mark at all, that means it came from Philadelphia. But don't confuse this with an error coin. It's not an error, it's a regular strike from Philadelphia. However, what does make a difference is the condition, strike quality, and historical value. In fine condition, that means the coin shows moderate wear, with major features still visible, but some flattening on the hairlines and details. The value in today's collector market is usually modest. As of 2025, a 1973 $50 without the D-Mint mark in fine condition generally trades for around 75 cents to $1.25 depending on the collector and the market. If the same coin is in extremely fine condition, with sharp details and only light circulation, you might get between $2 and $4. But when we step up to uncirculated condition, things get more interesting. A 1973 Philadelphia $50 graded MS60 can sell around $5 to $7, while high-grade examples in MS65 condition may reach up to $25 or more, depending on the luster and eye appeal. For proof coins, which were minted in San Francisco with the S-Mint mark, the value can range from $4 to $10, depending on the mirror finish and cameo contrast. The deep cameo or ultra cameo proofs, which show strong frosted details against a deep mirror background, can sometimes bring $15 to $30 or more in the right auctions. Now let's talk about errors and varieties, because this is where coin collectors around the world get excited. While there are no major recorded mint errors specific to the 1973 $50 from Philadelphia, there are minor die clashes, double die obverse, and weak strikes that occasionally appear. Coins showing a noticeable doubling in Kennedy's profile, or the lettering Liberty, can easily fetch $50 to $200, depending on the prominence of the doubling and the condition of the coin. Sometimes, people come across what appears to be a missing mint mark and assume it's an error. But remember, in 1973, Philadelphia coins simply had no mint mark by default. A truly missing mint mark error would apply only to Denver or San Francisco issues where the mint mark accidentally failed to be struck. Globally, the Kennedy half-dollar has become a symbol of American history, and international collectors from Europe, the Middle East, and Asia often seek these coins for their sets. The 1973 issue, while not the rarest, holds a steady demand due to its historical context and its relatively short mintage run compared to other years. The total mintage for the 1973 Philadelphia half-dollar was approximately 64.9 million coins, while Denver produced 83.4 million, and San Francisco made around 2.7 million proof coins. So, while that's a large number, many of these coins were later pulled from circulation, stored, or melted, especially during times when silver and nickel content drew attention from investors and hoarders. Another important point for collectors is the grading system. The difference between a fine and an uncirculated coin might seem minor to a casual observer, but it can mean a tenfold increase in value. A coin with no scratches, bright surfaces, and full original luster can dramatically change the value. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and encapsulate your 1973 half-dollar, ensuring that buyers and sellers know exactly what they're dealing with. If you ever come across a 1973 half-dollar in your collection or pocket change, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look for strong details on Kennedy's hair, sharp lettering, and clear edges. Also, pay attention to any signs of doubling or unusual features. They could be clues to something more valuable. For international collectors, this coin remains a fascinating piece not because it's worth a fortune, but because it tells the story of American culture in the post-1960s era. It reflects a period of national healing and pride, captured in a small metallic circle that millions held in their hands. Even though the base metal version is common, the coin's emotional and historical connection gives it a charm beyond its monetary value. Many collectors around the world start their journey with coins like the 1973 half-dollar, accessible, affordable, yet filled with heritage and artistry. Now let's talk briefly about storage and preservation. If you own one of these coins, avoid cleaning it. Cleaning can severely reduce a coin's value, even if it looks shinier afterward. Use proper holders or capsules to keep it safe from moisture, fingerprints, and air exposure. Over time, coins stored properly can retain their luster and appeal, which increases both their beauty and long-term value. When looking at auctions, especially on international platforms such as eBay, Heritage, or Great Collections, you'll notice that even ordinary 1973 half-dollars sell consistently. Collectors often buy them in bulk, either for historical collections, educational displays, or resale. Rare die varieties or high-grade specimens can still surprise you. Some have fetched $100 to $500 in specialized auctions when combined with unique traits or exceptional preservation. So, to sum it all up, the 1973 United States half-dollar without a D mint mark is a fascinating and historically rich coin. In fine condition, its value may be modest, around $1 or slightly more, but its true worth lies in what it represents: a continuation of America's legacy, a tribute to a beloved president, and a timeless collector's piece that connects generations through its design and symbolism. For those who collect internationally, it's an easy coin to obtain and a great entry point into American numismatics. For seasoned collectors, it's a piece that reminds us that not every valuable coin is made of silver or gold. Sometimes, it's the story behind the metal that truly shines. Keep your eyes open, check your change, and never underestimate what a single coin can reveal about history, art, and value. That's the magic of numismatics, and the 1973 half-dollar remains a shining example of it. The 1977 United States of America half-dollar coin, also known as the Kennedy half-dollar, is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history. Designed to honor the legacy of President John F. Kennedy after his assassination in 1963, this coin continues to captivate collectors worldwide even decades after its first issue. The 1977 half-dollar without a mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on circulating coins during that period. Now, let's explore this coin in detail: its composition, design, minting details, and market value in fine condition in today's market. The obverse, or front side of the coin, features the iconic portrait of President Kennedy facing left, designed by Gilroy Roberts. Above the portrait is the word Liberty, with the motto, "In God We Trust," placed horizontally across the lower part of Kennedy's neck, and the date, 1977, positioned at the bottom. The reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparro, displays the presidential seal, an eagle with outstretched wings clutching an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other, surrounded by a circle of stars with the inscription, United States of America and $50. The 1977 Kennedy $50 is composed primarily of copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core, which means it is not made of silver. The weight of the coin is about 11.34 grams, and its diameter is approximately 30.6 millimeters. This composition was standard for all circulating Kennedy $50 after 1971, when the U.S. Mint discontinued silver content for these coins. When it comes to production, the 1977 $50 was struck in 3 main locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D-mint mark; and San Francisco, S-mint mark for proof coins. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 43 million coins that year, which makes the 1977 $50 relatively common in circulation. However, the value and demand for this coin depend heavily on its condition, mint mark, and any possible errors or varieties that might exist. A 1977 $50, without a mint mark in fine condition, typically has a market value ranging from 75 cents to $2 USD in the United States. However, uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS-65 and above, can sell for $10 to $25, while proof coins from the San Francisco Mint can go from $5 up to $15 depending on their mirror-like finish. But here's where things get interesting. If you happen to find an error variety, or a coin with a striking anomaly, such as a double die obverse, off-center strike, or planchet flaw, the value could skyrocket to hundreds, or even thousands of dollars in the collector's market. Collectors around the world pay special attention to Kennedy $50 because they symbolize a significant moment in U.S. history, the memory of a beloved president, and the hope of an entire nation. The 1977 issue, although not as rare as the 1964 silver version, carries the same emotional and patriotic weight. This makes it an important addition to any serious U.S. coin collection. Now, talking about the grading aspect. Grading plays a crucial role in determining the market value of the 1977 $50. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC are often worth more due to verified authenticity and precise condition reporting. A coin graded MS-67, for example, has nearly perfect luster, no visible wear, and minimal marks even under magnification. Such specimens can sell between $100 and $300 depending on the collector demand and auction trends. It's also important to note that the 1977 $50 was one of the last in the series before the mint significantly reduced $50 circulation. After 2001, these coins were minted primarily for collectors rather than for everyday cash use. So, older issues like the 1977 version still hold nostalgic and collectible value. In terms of international market perspective, collectors in countries like Canada, the UK, and across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East are increasingly drawn to Kennedy $50 for their artistic and historical appeal. Prices in international online markets such as eBay, heritage auctions, and Stack's Bowers often reflect this growing demand, with some listings for high-grade or error-free specimens going from $20 to $500 depending on certification and buyer interest. For those who are just starting in coin collecting, the 1977 $50, without a mint mark, offers a perfect balance of affordability and historical richness. It is accessible yet deeply meaningful, a piece of American history you can hold in your hand. And because of its durable copper-nickel composition, even circulated examples tend to retain their sharpness and design details, making them visually appealing for display or collection albums. Now, let's discuss a bit about how to identify genuine coins and spot counterfeits or replicas. Genuine 1977 Kennedy $50 have a distinct reeded edge, consistent thickness, and precise details around Kennedy's hair, eyes, and the eagle's feathers. Counterfeit versions are rare, but not impossible. They often have soft design details, incorrect weight, or slightly off coloration. Always check the weight, 11.34 grams, and diameter, 30.6 millimeters, for accuracy. If you own a 1977 $50 coin without a mint mark, here's how you can estimate its worth. If it's circulated and shows moderate wear, around 75 cents to $1.25. If it's in fine condition, about $1.50 to $2. If it's uncirculated, brilliant or near mint, $5 to $15. If certified MS65 or higher, $25 to $300 depending on rarity and buyer interest. If it's an error coin, for example, double strike or misaligned die, potential value between $100 to $1,000 or more. Many collectors enjoy building full sets of Kennedy half dollars from 1964 to present. The 1977 issue fills an essential place in that timeline, a representation of the late 1970s minting era, a period when the US Mint transitioned heavily toward modern clad coinage. The emotional value behind these coins is equally powerful. The Kennedy half dollar is not just currency, it's a tribute to a president whose message of hope, courage, and leadership still resonates. Every collector who holds a 1977 half dollar is, in a way, holding a small fragment of American history, a tangible link to an era defined by change and remembrance. In summary, while the 1977 United States of America half dollar, without a mint mark, might seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, its historical roots, connection to President Kennedy, and collectible variations make it an extraordinary piece for collectors worldwide. Its fine condition market value may range from a few dollars to several hundred, depending on its grade and rarity, but its true worth lies far beyond monetary measure. It's in the story it tells and the history it preserves. So next time you come across a 1977 Kennedy half dollar, take a closer look. You might be holding a hidden gem, a piece of the past that continues to shine brightly even today. Whether you're a beginner collector or an expert numismatist, the journey through coins like this one opens doors to history, art, and timeless fascination. Keep exploring, keep collecting, and who knows, your next coin might just be worth a fortune. Today, we're going to explore one of the most intriguing and collectible pieces from modern US minting, the 1994 United States of America half dollar coin, especially the one without the P mint mark, found in fine condition. We'll dive into its history, its design, its production, its composition, and most importantly, its market value in today's numismatic world. So stay tuned till the end, because this episode isn't just about a coin, it's about a piece of living American heritage. The 1994 half dollar is part of the long-running Kennedy half dollar series, first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his assassination. This coin series has continued for decades, symbolizing respect, remembrance, and national pride. The coin we're discussing today, the 1994 version, represents the modern continuation of that iconic design, but what makes it truly special is when you find one without a mint mark. Now, before we discuss values, let's understand what the no mint mark means. Typically, coins minted in Philadelphia bear a P mint mark. However, for several years in modern minting history, some Philadelphia coins were struck without any mint mark, intentionally or by minting error. If you find a 1994 half dollar without a mint mark under Kennedy's portrait, it could have originated from a Philadelphia strike. But sometimes, missing mint marks can also indicate die errors or filled die situations, where the mint mark wasn't properly impressed due to grease or debris during striking. These coins are what collectors call variety, or error coins, and they can command impressive premiums depending on condition and rarity. The coin's obverse features the portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, and the reverse features the presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparo. It's made of a copper-nickel clad composition, 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, and weighs 11.34 grams with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. The edge is reeded, giving it a distinctive texture when compared to other denominations. Now, moving into the 1994 production data, over 23 million half dollars were struck in Philadelphia and over 23 million in Denver. Proof coins were minted in San Francisco, bearing the S mint mark. However, the coin without the mint mark stands out. Even though technically it's a Philadelphia coin, collectors seek those that appear blank because they carry a certain mystique, an element of the unexpected in an otherwise modern, predictable minting process. So how valuable is the 1994 half dollar today? Let's break this down based on condition. In fine condition, such as a lightly circulated piece with visible details, but noticeable wear, its value generally sits around 50 cents to $1. In extremely fine condition, it might be worth about $1.50 to $2. However, When we move into uncirculated condition, values can rise between $3 to $7, depending on luster and strike quality. But if your coin shows unique features, such as missing mint mark, die cracks, double dies, or planchet errors, the value could rise significantly, even reaching between $50 to $200 or more depending on collector interest and grading. Speaking of grading, coins are officially evaluated by organizations such as PCGS and NGC. A coin graded MS65 or higher, meaning mint state with strong luster and minimal surface marks, can easily attract more than $10 to $25. If there's a rare variety, that could multiply in auction. For instance, Kennedy half dollars with unusual die features or misaligned strikes have sold for hundreds on platforms like heritage auctions or eBay. Now, let's go deeper into the numismatic interest. The 1994 Kennedy half dollar marks an interesting era. By this time, the US Mint had largely stopped striking half dollars for everyday circulation. Most were made for collectors and mint sets. This means many 1994 coins were not widely used, keeping their condition better than coins from previous decades. As a result, finding them in fine condition is relatively easy, but finding one that shows a unique mint anomaly, that's where the true rarity lies. Collectors around the world are drawn to these coins not only for their beauty, but also for their historical connection. The Kennedy series is more than just money. It's a tribute to an American legacy that resonated with millions. Each coin is a silent witness to history, to design evolution, and to technological changes in minting. When you hold a 1994 half dollar, you're holding a symbol of American endurance, minted 3 decades after Kennedy's passing, yet still carrying his image with pride. In today's market, online platforms like eBay, Etsy, and heritage auctions show active trades of these coins. Common circulated examples sell between $0.75 and $2, while proof and uncirculated versions often reach $5 to $15. Coins graded by NGC or PCGS as MS67 can reach between $30 and $60 depending on demand. However, the special no mint mark errors, if verified, have occasionally sold for upwards of $100 or more. Collectors pay attention to fine details like doubled lettering on Liberty, "In God We Trust," or even minor shifts in the Kennedy profile, which can make a simple coin turn into a valuable variety. One of the most fascinating things about modern coin collecting is that values continue to change. As more collectors enter the market and vintage pieces get hoarded, even coins like the 1994 half dollar can appreciate. While they may not carry silver like the 1960s versions, their numismatic appeal continues to rise due to design consistency and emotional significance. Now, let's talk a bit about how you can preserve and protect your 1994 half dollar coin. If you have one in fine condition, avoid cleaning it. Cleaning reduces collector value significantly. Instead, store it in a non-PVC coin flip or an airtight capsule to prevent oxidation. Keep it away from humidity and extreme temperature. If you plan to sell it, it's best to have it graded by a professional service or at least evaluated by a reputable dealer. For international collectors, the Kennedy half dollar remains one of the most recognized American coins worldwide. It's often gifted, displayed, and traded as a symbol of US heritage. The 1994 coin, being from a relatively low mintage era, can make a nice addition to a complete date run or thematic collection. Many collectors don't just chase value, they chase stories, and this coin tells one, a story of America's hope, unity, and timeless design. Each year's minting adds a new layer to that narrative, and owning a 1994 half dollar without a mint mark places you right in that continuum. As we wrap up, remember, even if the coin in your hand seems common, in the world of numismatics, every detail counts. The absence of a tiny p can turn a 50-cent coin into a small treasure. Its worth today may be modest, but its connection to history and the thrill of discovery make it priceless in another way. So next time you come across a 1994 Kennedy half dollar, don't just glance at it. Study it closely. That missing mint mark might just tell you a hidden story, a minting mystery, or a numismatic surprise waiting to be uncovered. The 1776 to 1976 $1 coin features President Dwight D. Eisenhower on the obverse, designed by Frank Gasparo. On the reverse, the image of the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon was designed by Dennis R. Williams, a young art student whose work became a symbol of American pride during the bicentennial celebrations. The The absence of a mint mark indicates the coin was made in Philadelphia, while coins with D were struck in Denver and those with S were proof coins from San Francisco. The bicentennial Eisenhower dollar was minted between 1975 and 1976, but all of them bear the dual date, 1776 to 1976. No coins were struck with the single date, 1975. Another unique fact that makes these dollars stand out. The alloy of these coins varies. Circulation strikes were made from copper-nickel clad, while collector versions were issued in 40% silver composition, giving them a brighter, more silvery tone. Collectors often focus on condition and strike details. A fine condition coin, such as the one we're discussing today, without the D mint mark, usually shows moderate wear, visible details of Eisenhower's face, and a clear Liberty Bell design on the reverse. Even in fine condition, this coin carries historical and collectible value. But in higher grades, such as extremely fine, XF, about uncirculated AU, or mint state, MS60 and above, prices can rise dramatically. In today's international market, as of 2025, a 1776 to 1976 Eisenhower dollar, without a mint mark in fine condition, generally sells between $3 to $5, while in extra fine condition, it can reach $8 to $12. Coins in uncirculated condition, especially those graded by NGC or PCGS, can bring in $25 to $60, depending on luster and strike quality. However, special 40% silver versions can easily go beyond $100, and if you happen to have one with a deep cameo-proof finish, the value might reach $200 or even more in certified slabs. But the real fascination begins when we talk about eras and varieties. Some no-mint mark 1776 to 1976 Eisenhower dollars display unique die varieties, such as double die obverse, doubled lettering on Liberty, or In God We Trust, or strong strikes on the bell's cracked detail. Such errors can dramatically increase the value, sometimes up to $500 or more, depending on rarity and collector demand. Also, coins struck slightly off-center or showing die breaks are extremely sought after among error coin enthusiasts. Another important aspect is the difference between Type 1 and Type 2 reverses. Type 1 reverse, used in early 1975 production, shows thicker lettering on United States of America and $1, while Type 2, used later in 1976, features thinner and sharper letters. Collectors often try to obtain both types for a complete bicentennial set. The no-mint mark Philadelphia coins exist in both types, and identifying them adds a fun challenge to numismatics. Now let's talk about the history that made this coin special. The bicentennial celebration of 1976 was a national event marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Millions of coins, stamps, and memorabilia were created to commemorate the occasion. The Eisenhower dollar, being the largest circulating coin at that time, became a powerful patriotic symbol. Although it was not widely used in everyday commerce due to its large size and weight, it became a collector's favorite almost instantly. Around 113 million no-mint mark Eisenhower dollars were produced in Philadelphia for the bicentennial, but despite the large mintage, finding well-preserved examples is becoming increasingly difficult. Many were spent, damaged, or lost over the decades. That's why collectors now pay attention to eye appeal, toning, and luster. Beautifully toned coins, especially those with rainbow hues caused by oxidation, are highly prized and can fetch double or triple the average value. The silver-clad proof versions, on the other hand, were sold directly to collectors in special government packaging. Those coins, struck with mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs, are easy to distinguish from the regular copper-nickel clad coins. If you have one and it has no mint mark, make sure to test carefully. Sometimes proof coins lose their mint mark due to wear or weak strike, and that can make them appear no mint mark, when they actually were S-mint. When discussing long-term value, the Eisenhower dollar series, especially the bicentennial issue, continues to rise in collector interest. As generations of collectors seek historical and commemorative pieces, these coins serve as a bridge between modern America and its revolutionary roots. Market trends show that certified and high-grade examples have gained around 20 to 30% in value over the last 5 years. This means that even ordinary coins in good condition are becoming more desirable. For investors, it's worth noting that silver versions hold intrinsic metal value as well. At today's silver rate, A 40% silver bicentennial dollar contains around 0.31 troy ounces of silver, worth roughly $7 to $10 just for the metal content. But its collectible appeal often doubles that amount. This dual nature, part bullion, part history, is what keeps these coins active in both collector and investor markets. If you're looking to sell your 1776 to 1976 $1 coin, the best platforms are eBay, heritage auctions, or certified coin dealers who understand bicentennial varieties. Always check recent sold listings rather than asking prices, because actual market value depends on what buyers are paying today. Coins in certified holders from grading companies like PCGS, NGC, or Anax tend to attract higher prices and more serious collectors. If you plan to keep your coin for the long term, store it carefully, use acid-free holders or capsules, and avoid cleaning the coin at all costs. Cleaning reduces numismatic value instantly because it alters the surface. Natural patina and toning are preferred. They tell the story of the coin's age. The Eisenhower bicentennial dollar is more than just a piece of metal. It's a commemoration of freedom, progress, and pride. Its dual date reminds us of the journey from 1776 to 1976, from revolution to innovation. Holding such a coin means holding a part of history that connects people across generations. As we move deeper into this century, these coins will only become rarer in original, untouched condition. Collectors in the United States, Canada, the UK, India, and across Europe continue to hunt for pristine examples. Even overseas markets, such as Japan and Australia, have seen growing demand for US commemorative dollars, particularly the bicentennial types. So, if you own a 1776 to 1976 $1 coin without a D-mint mark, you're not just holding an American dollar. You're holding a symbol of 2 centuries of independence and unity. Whether it's worth a few dollars or a few hundred depends on its grade, but its historical worth is priceless. Remember, every great collection begins with one coin. So, take a close look at yours. Maybe that old coin sitting in your drawer is part of a nation's proud story. The Eisenhower bicentennial dollar remains one of the most recognizable and respected coins in US numismatic history, admired not just in America, but across the entire world.